Greetings friends, welcome. Today we're looking at CSS specificity. Now this is how the browser determines what style to apply to an element when you've got selectors, more than one selector targeting that element with a different style. Right, let's jump in. I've got a very simple section here and we're going to go through each of the different selectors that you can use and look at their specificity. So let's start by simply targeting this by the element itself, by section. So this is the lowest priority that we could do. If I set the color in here to red, that gets applied. We have targeted this element using this selector here. We're going to start looking at each of them. So I'll put the actual specificity of this up here, and the order of it is going to be inline style. That's the highest priority we can give something, then an ID, then a class, and also pseudo elements and attribute selectors, but we'll mainly just leave class there to make it easy to read, and element, which is the one we just did. That's the lowest priority. So the specificity for this selector that we just did, it's not inline, it's not an ID, it's not a class, it is an element, so it's number 1. But nothing else is higher, so it got applied. Alright, let's have a look then if we want to try and get a value in here. So that's going to be a class. Okay, so let's do my class. And we'll say color, just make it a little smaller so it all stays on. Color green. Alright, if I now put this class on here, my class, then we'll see that flicks over to green. And that's because this selector has got a higher specificity, is more specific than this one here. It's more specific because section could apply to any sections across the whole of your website. This is only going to apply to ones that have got the class specified on. So it's more specific, it wins out. So let's add the details of that one there. We'll just put it here. So we'll do, so it's not inline, it's not an ID, it is a class. And there's no element specifier. So this would be its specificity. You can kind of read that as 10 if you want versus 1. Yeah, there's one way to do it. Alright, what would be the next level up? It would be an ID. That should win out against these classes and these elements. So let's do a hash of, we'll call it my section. And we'll say color blue. And just make sure we can see that on the bottom still. Alright, so if I now give this an ID of my section, then we can see that flicks over to blue because this one is now winning out. It's even more specific. It's an ID. Only one. IDs are meant to be unique, so you can see that lots of elements could have this class applied, but as this is one element, it's more specific again, so that fits with what we're trying to achieve. So the specificity here is it's not inline, but it is an ID. It's not a class or an element, so we could kind of read that as 100, and that obviously beats the 10 and it beats the 1. Alright, so the last highest one we can do is an inline. So if we actually come in here and do an inline style and say the color is purple, then that will flick over to purple because that is essentially, in fact let me just move this over so we can see it. That one is a specifier of 1, not an ID, not a class, not an element, like so. Let me put those styles in. Yeah, so basically 1,000 in terms of its specificity there. Just take that one back out there. All right, so that is the order of specificity. Specificity is part of the cascade. So in terms of the final resolution, you would take into account inheritance as well, but these would always override an inherited item. Inheritance takes case not for many properties. Certainly color is one. If we put on the body here, if we give the body a style and say color brown, saddle brown, and then we take all of this, we take all of this off for the moment, then is that saddle brown, is it? Let's go back to an easier color. Let's go back to blue. Okay, yeah, I've still got section here. That one beats it. As I say, any selector beats an inherited value. So if I get rid of that section there, the red will flip over to the inherited value from the body here. So again, this inherited value is very high level, not specific at all. It's everything that's below the body. And so this is more specific in that case as well. And in terms of the cascade as well, there's also where you are in the file. So if you've got two items that are actually identical, so say we let's get rid of that inherited value. It will go back to red because of this section. I'll just get rid of those, and say we had two sections here, a red and a green. Now they've got identical specificities, so the browser then just works out which is last or closest to your file. So green is winning at the moment because it's this one down the bottom. If we move the red beneath that, then that one will take priority as well there. So there's kind of three elements involved in the cascade. There's the inheritance, there's the position in the file, and there's the specificity. The specificity is kind of the most important one in a way. As long as you're targeting things correctly, that is where you're going to be looking to determine which elements get your styles. All right, so there you go. Nice little overview of the cascade and specificity. I hope that was interesting. Give you a thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down if not. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below for updates of future videos. Catch you next time. Bye.